Hey, you. Thank you for joining me for episode number 146 of Better Regulate Than Never. Well, how's everybody doing? It's still my favorite season, and I am enjoying my summer so far. I just had a family vacation, we had a family wedding. There's just been a lot of fun things going on, and I have been enjoying all the things. And I don't always know when I'm going to be recording these. And of course, they're doing some work across the street, really loud. I'm not hearing it so much right now, but I don't know what's going to happen as I record this. So hopefully you won't hear a lot of other crazy noise. I'm pretty lucky being able to record here in my office because I don't have a lot of things that get in the way of the noise and all that. So sorry if there's some weird noises that happen. I want to tell you about the perfect tool that I have to help you feel confident and ready for school or work, and especially school in August. So it is called UMAP, and it's a UMAP assessment. And if you don't already know what that is, you can check out my episodes 141 to 144 because I tell all about the 4 pillars of this assessment. But what I love about it is that it tests and it assesses you as a person and then puts it all together to kind of give you like this instruction manual about yourself. I was thinking about this recently because I've been working with AI and kind of like seeing what it can do for me and my business and for my podcasting and all of that stuff. And I started to think about this UMAP is kind of like your AI about what you need when you're like going to try to market yourself to a job interview, or you're writing your resume, or you're writing college applications or college essays, scholarship things. This is like all the information. You don't have to sit and think, oh, what do I say? It's all right there. And you come up with statements that speak about you very specifically, and it's so great. So I don't want anyone to miss out on having this information. And so if you are interested in this, parents, if you're interested in your child having it, or young people, if you're interested, go to my website, betterregulatethannever.com/programs. And there's 2 options there. You can just get the UMAP profile with the workbook and nothing else, and you can just take that information and do with it whatever you would like. There's a lot of self-starters in the world, or people who work really well figuring things out on their own. So I want to be able to offer that to you. But there's also an option where you take the UMAP assessment and you get 8 sessions of coaching and debriefing about that information. And we come up with all sorts of things together. So either way, any answer is perfect, yes or no. I just want you to know about it because I just think that it's such a good thing for you to have. Okay, so today's episode was inspired by a sermon that I heard this last Sunday, and the sermon was talking about favorite movie characters that are mentors, and then how does that compare to mentors in the Bible. And as I was listening to that sermon, I was like, I am a mentor. I've always been a mentor as a teacher, as a school counselor, and now as a life coach. And I thought, how can I kind of connect it to being a coach for young people? So, and sometimes I think if I use the word mentor, like when someone asks me what I do, when I say I'm a life coach for teens, people don't really understand what that is. And if I say I'm a mentor for teens, people totally get that. Like for some reason, we just know that word better. And I have thought maybe I should just tell people that I'm a mentor because it doesn't really matter what my job title exactly is. I'm doing the same thing. Well, my favorite movie of all time is Shawshank Redemption. And the sermon didn't talk about this particular one, but it is so beautiful in the sense of having a mentor as well. And some of you maybe haven't seen Shawshank Redemption. I think it came out in the 90s. And it's on TV all the time. But a lot of people don't know about it. But so I'm going to kind of explain it and how it fits with being, who's a mentor and how does that fit with being mentored. So Shawshank is a prison, and the movie takes place over a 19 to 20 year period from 1947 to 1966. And the main character, his name is Andy Dufresne, and he was falsely accused of murder. And so the story is about friendships that are made in the prison and how he desperately wants to be free because he is innocent. And Red is the name of a prisoner there that was already there when he got there. And that prisoner is played by Morgan Freeman. And he becomes a friend and a mentor to Andy. And he teaches Andy about hope and redemption. There, Shawshank Redemption. So I think our mind is like a prison. Our thoughts keep us prisoner, falsely accusing us of all sorts of crimes and reminding us over and over again about the mistakes and missteps that we've taken. And I have spent so much time being in the prison of my mind where I'm just going over and over things that I feel bad about or I think I did terribly or whatever. And then I'm accusing myself of being a bad person or unredeemable or all the things. And we secretly know that we're innocent, but we feel that we can't escape these thoughts, just like Andy felt, well, he really couldn't at the beginning escape the sentence or escape the prison. And we forget or we don't know how to escape our thoughts. And this whole podcast is about how to escape your thoughts, but you do need to practice it a lot. So, go back and listen to some other episodes if you do feel like this, you're a prisoner to your thoughts. And we need a mentor in our lives to give us hope and show us the way to redemption. And everybody needs a mentor. And if you think back, you probably can think of mentors you've had. And mentors come in many forms. We have physical mentors that were around in real life. And sometimes we get messages from books that we read or podcasts that we listen to. I'm hoping that this podcast is a mentor to you in some way, or that I am a mentor to you, even though we haven't met each other, at least some of us anyway. But sometimes we don't understand the message that we're getting, and we just give up right away because we don't know what the message is, or we don't feel worthy or capable of what our mentor is saying to us. I know so many times I would hear things in podcasts or read things in a book, and I would think, well, that sounds great, and I want to believe that, but I don't think that I can do it, or I don't think that they're talking about me, they're talking about someone else. I have a quote on my website from Joseph Campbell, who is credited with coming up with the framework of the hero's journey. And I'm positive that I've talked about the hero's journey before in a podcast. I did a search of all my episodes to try to see, because now that I have so many, I can't remember sometimes when I say certain things. And I couldn't come up with the exact episode that I talked about the hero's journey, but I know I've talked about it before. But I'm going to kind of go over it again, but based on Shawshank Redemption. So the hero's journey and our real lives, the reason they came up with the hero's journey is because it mirrors how we live our lives. And that's why it's such a great, a framework, I guess you would say, to create movies and books, because we can see ourselves in the journey of the movie or the book because it's our journey of our lives. But at some point in our lives, you will feel restless or feel like you need something new and different. And that's kind of like always the beginning of a story or the beginning of a movie or a TV show. There's something that the person needs or wants, and they're not sure how to go about it, or they're not sure how to get there, or they're not sure what to do next. So in the Shawshank Redemption, Andy Dufresne, he's falsely or wrongly accused, and he so badly wants to not have to go to prison, and he wants to be free. Because if you can imagine, when you are innocent, that would be a terrible thing to happen, to have to go to prison when you don't deserve to be there. So then we might be in the right place at the right time for a call to something more. And so Andy Dufresne can't escape the sentence that he got because they, in court, they believed that he did murder people. And so he can't escape the sentence because it's already been given to him. And he has to go to prison because that's, what happens with the sentencing. But as he gets there, he starts realizing how a lot of the prisoners are acting. And so his way of the call for more is that he doesn't want to act like the prisoners that he sees. And he kind of just stays to himself for a while. He just sits back and he watches how other people are acting and reacting to things. The first time we hear a call to adventure, or the first time we feel that pull that we want to do something different, we probably doubt or feel like we're not worthy or not capable of that call. And I have talked myself out of so many adventures early on in my life because it was safer to not explore it or to think about it. Even when I started thinking about the adventure of this business, this podcast, and then the business of mentoring and life coaching people, it scared me, and I didn't move forward for a long time because I thought, well, I don't know how to do that, and I can't do it, or it's too hard, or it's going to take too much time, or whatever. And so in that instance for Andy in the movie, he is unsure that he can stand to even be in prison. I mean, he looks around and he just feels sick about it because he doesn't think he can live that life, and he's been sentenced to a long time. I don't think it was life, but I don't remember that for sure, but it was a long time. Then in our lives, we meet a mentor. It can be someone we already know, like I said, or a new person that comes into our lives, and they have knowledge that we need to go on our journey. And again, think about all the people in your life so far that have given you some kind of knowledge that helped you move forward. And I hope this podcast has been one of those things where you're like, oh, I didn't know that, or I didn't know I could feel that way. But I can just think of so many times in my life. Sometimes I can even remember where I was sitting or where I was driving or what person, the exact words they said to me. That's something that changed how I thought about everything. And I hope if you haven't had that you really start paying attention, because I think these things happen all the time and sometimes we do ignore it. But think about who has given you knowledge for this journey of life, and what kinds of things have you heard or seen or experienced where you're like, oh my gosh, that's totally the direction I need to go, or that inspires me to do something. So in the movie, Andy meets Red, this other fellow prisoner, and Red knows a lot of information about how the prison works because he's been there a long time. So he's going to kind of come along and let him know how the prison works. And he can also get special items for people because he has this power among the prisoners, and I think even among some of the guards, where he can barter, and I suppose they probably have a little bit of money where he can buy certain things. Or I know in the movie, Andy gives him money to buy special items for him because Red is the one that can get these items better than anyone else. Then in the hero's journey, we are ready to leave our normal world behind and we need to go on an adventure. Think about how many Disney movies had somebody going on an adventure. And really, any book, TV show, movie that you watch, there's a time where someone goes on an adventure or they have to leave what they knew all along to be true to do something different. So in Shawshank Redemption, Andy asks for these tools to make rock carvings, and that's, the excuse that he gives. And he does make rock carvings because when he asks for that, he has to show that that's what he's using it for. And he also wants to be able to keep the tools, so he has to be showing that he's doing something good with them. But what he's really doing is chipping away the wall behind one of his posters. And the chipping away of the wall is his steps towards that free life that he wants to have. On our hero's journey, we will have barriers and obstacles and enemies, but we also will have hope and allies that will help us along. And so we have different mentors a lot of times, or we have a mentor, but then we have people who align with that same thinking or with that same goal. And so those people help us along the way. So for Andy, most of the prisoners are his allies. There's a lot of friendship story in the movie where people are helping each other and liking each other. But there are a few enemies that get in the way, and there are guards and the warden who use and abuse Andy. And so he has, his allies, friends, and then he has his enemies. Then there's a crossroads where we either literally have to go in a different direction to a different place, or mentally we have to go in a different direction, and we have to face our fears and make difficult decisions. So for Andy, once the tunnel has been dug, which took almost 20 years, then he must go through the tunnel and through the sewers to go to freedom. And while this 20 years is going on, he's doing all sorts of stuff behind the scenes to create a plan for him to be able to be free once he goes through that tunnel. Then, on the hero's journey, we must fight a final battle and make an uncomfortable decision. It's something that brings your story to a climax, or brings this story to a climax. And we may need to go to our mentor again to get more information. We may have a new mentor. And we just need to look at what's the next step of the journey and what information, like taking all the information that we've gotten so far and what will we do next. So Andy must do a lot of crawling, discomfort, and fear to the end of the tunnel and to freedom. Then on the hero's journey, we finally get some kind of reward for all of our discomfort. And for Andy's discomfort, he gets to be free, and he gets to start trying his plan out that he's been creating for 20 years. Now, in our journey, we may go back to our normal life after we have this new information. And I think for me, this is my life. I didn't change a ton about my life, but my life is completely different because of the information and the business and learning things. And so the hero may return to the normal life with new information. They may go into a new life, or they may also have to face those adversaries they had before, or maybe they'll have new problems. And for Andy, in the movie anyway, and if that was his real life story, there would probably be barriers and adversaries, later on in the story. But in the movie, when he gets free and he goes away, he gets completely away from all that and he just starts a new life. So Andy has to put his full escape plan into place, and there was a lot of pieces to it, but it shows him going through those pieces to start this new life because he wants to be a new person and free of his old identity. And so often in our lives, we have transitions and take different turns to become different people, and not literally different people, but I've probably been a different person every decade of my life. And I remember when I was in my 20s, I was like, this is as mature as I could ever get. And I just keep getting more mature. So it really is a never-ending process. And I think that's cool. I like routines and things being the same and patterns, all that stuff makes me feel comfortable. But I also like knowing that change is always possible, and that there's so many things that I can do with my life whenever I feel like it. This second half of my life is so amazing. I would have never guessed in a million years how much fun and how much I would love being in my 50s. And so for a lot of you, you have a lot to look forward to. It's very fun. And you get to create it. And that's what's so great about this hero's journey that we're all on. Who is your mentor right now? Who has been your mentor? Just try to name them. I have had many mentors in my life. My parents were mentors, my friends, teachers, like I said, books and podcasts. There have been people that have made profound changes in my life, and I've never actually met them. And I think that's so cool. And I hope that that's what you can think about this podcast, is that it has helped you make profound changes and you maybe don't even know me. And hopefully when you tune in every week, it's like, oh, there's my old friend and she's going to tell me some more things about what I need to do. She's going to mentor me with new information. I am so grateful for my mentors because they gave me the information and tools to conquer my dragons, to marry the prince, and get out of the prison of my thoughts that were so wrongly accusing me. Now, that doesn't mean that my thoughts don't try to take hold of me. They always will. It's never going to totally go away. This isn't a process where you get to the end of the journey and then, it's just happily ever after. Some of our fairy tales tell us that, but that's not realistic. And it's okay that we have to keep working on it, because I think that's the work of being a human. I think we are here to constantly be reframing and reinventing ourselves and becoming people that we want to be. And so I hope you're on that journey to do that. But none of us can figure out this journey of our life by ourselves. Now, I believe that you are born with all the tools and all the knowledge and all the talents you need to have your journey, but so did, I haven't seen Star Wars for a long time, but I know that Luke Skywalker felt like he couldn't do certain things. And then he had mentors, Yoda, Obi-Wan Kenobi, different people like that came into his life that showed him he did how to use those tools, or that he did have the talents that he thought he didn't have. And that's what happens in real life. We have all these things inside, but we sometimes don't know how to understand them or how to use them, or we haven't learned a specific tool that would really help us unlock it. And so that's what mentors do. So if you need a fairy godmother, if you need a friend like Red, if you need a Yoda, an Obi-Wan Kenobi, a Mr. Miyagi, or a Dumbledore, contact me. My contact information is on my website, betterregulatedthannever.com, or any social media platform. Even in my show notes, there's ways to contact me. So even if you think, well, I don't know if this is the way I'm supposed to contact her, it doesn't matter, because I look at all of it. And if you send me a message and say, I need a mentor, I need a Dumbledore, I need a Obi-Wan Kenobi, I will send you a link for us to meet on Zoom and talk about it. And even if you're just curious and we talk and you're like, I don't think I like that, I don't think I want to do it, it's totally fine. Yes and no are both perfect answers. I just want you to know that there are all these options available to you. And when you're ready, the teacher will come. I think I've said that before on the podcast too, but maybe you're not ready for a mentor yet. Maybe you're curious about it, but your mind isn't there yet. And that's okay, because even if you force yourself to have a mentor before you're ready, your brain isn't going to comprehend what you're supposed to do. And so you will only understand it when the time is right. So maybe this isn't the right time, but we could still talk, and I could still let you know what things are available or how it would work. I can help you with any questions or decisions that you need to know about. I just want to be helpful to anyone who listens to my podcast or watches my YouTube channel. And let your friends know that they need a mentor, and maybe I'm the person that can be their mentor too. So just share this with them and talk to them about it. Talk to you soon.